street racer loses control and plows into Florida gay bar, killing 4 people. At least 4 people were killed when a street racer lost control of his car and plowed into a Florida gay bar Friday. Silas Sampson, 22, was allegedly evading a police chase when he smashed into Bradley's, striking a dozen people who were on the patio, according to Tampa police. 3 people were pronounced dead at the scene. A 4th succumbed to their injuries at a local hospital. At least 11 others were injured in the crash, with 1 in critical condition. The crash is under investigation, and Silas was detained at the scene. What happened this morning was a senseless tragedy. Our hearts are with the loved ones of the victims and all those who were impacted. Tampa Police Chief Lee Burkhoff said in a statement, "Reckless driving put innocent lives in danger. The Tampa Police Department and the Florida Highway Patrol are committed to seeking justice for the victims and their families." The tragic crash at Bradley's on 7 in Tampa is not simply a horrific accident caused by one man's recklessness. It is a multifaceted event that exposes the fragile intersection of human behavior, urban design, policing policy, and social vulnerability. The deaths of 4 innocent people and the injuries of many more serve as a sobering reminder that safety in public spaces is a shared responsibility, not just an abstract civic goal. At its heart, this incident demonstrates the devastating power of a single reckless decision. Silas Sampson's alleged street racing and attempt to evade police transformed a car, an everyday object of mobility, into an instrument of chaos and death. For the victims and their loved ones, this is not a policy debate, but an irreplaceable human loss. Parents without children, partners without loved ones, friends without friends. The randomness of their deaths deepens the pain, because it could have been anyone sitting on that patio. The line between ordinary joy and sudden tragedy was only a few seconds wide. Yet while individual culpability is clear, the broader system must also confront its role. Street racing has long been recognized as a growing menace in Florida, especially in metropolitan regions with wide boulevards and active nightlife. Despite repeated crackdowns, the culture persists, fueled by social media, peer validation, and adrenaline addiction. The Tampa crash illustrates how these behaviors are not victimless stunts on empty roads, but ticking time bombs that can erupt into mass casualties in seconds. It demands a renewed statewide conversation about deterrence, tougher penalties, consistent enforcement, and community outreach aimed at young drivers before they enter this dangerous subculture. Law enforcement also stands at a difficult crossroads. Pursuits are inherently dangerous, both to officers and the public. In this case, the Tampa police reportedly disengaged when the chase reached a pedestrian-dense area, following established safety protocol. Yet the outcome still ended in death. This points to the complexity of modern policing. Even correct procedural decisions can yield catastrophic results when unpredictable human behavior intervenes. The incident could prompt agencies to explore non-traditional methods of pursuit management, such as GPS tagging, drone tracking, or remote vehicle disablement, reducing the need for high-speed chases through crowded zones. Every pursuit, however justified, carries a moral cost that must be weighed against its necessity. Urban design emerges as another critical layer. Ybor City's charm, its open patios, historic architecture, and walkable streets, is also its weakness. Venues like Bradley's depend on an inviting interface between sidewalk and street, yet that same openness leaves patrons exposed. City planners and bar owners may now face difficult but necessary questions. Should nightlife districts be partially closed to vehicles during peak hours? Should outdoor patios require reinforced barriers capable of stopping a speeding car? These measures cost money and change aesthetics, but they may be the price of genuine safety in a car-dominated culture. The goal should not be to sterilize urban life, but to ensure that vibrancy does not come at the expense of vulnerability. Equally significant is the symbolic blow to the LGBTQ+ community. Bradley's on 7th was not just a bar, it was a social sanctuary. For many, especially in conservative regions, such venues are among the few public spaces where queer people can gather freely without judgment. To see that safe haven turn into a scene of carnage, even if accidentally, is emotionally devastating. It triggers collective memories of targeted violence, from Pulse nightclub in Orlando to smaller acts of intimidation across the country. Although police have made clear this was not a hate crime, perception matters. The community's grief will inevitably blend with anxiety, a renewed sense of how easily their safe spaces can be breached by forces beyond their control. Healing will require visible solidarity from local leaders, inclusive public vigils, and perhaps most importantly, a reaffirmation that queer joy deserves safety and protection in every corner of public life. Economically, the repercussions may ripple through Tampa's nightlife. Visitors may hesitate to return to Ybor City for a time, and business owners could face insurance battles and renovation costs. But in the long term, the district's survival will depend on how it responds, with denial or determination. If the tragedy catalyzes structural safety upgrades, improved traffic management, and deeper community trust, Ybor City could become a national model for resilient urban nightlife. Ultimately, this event forces us to confront a painful truth. Modern urban living operates on a delicate balance between freedom and control. Every driver's decision, every city's zoning choice, every police pursuit contributes to that balance. When one element fails, when ego overrides empathy, or when design overlooks danger, the consequences are immediate and irreversible. The 4 people who died outside Bradley should not be remembered merely as victims of a crash. They were people living in a moment of community, laughter, and belonging, until a reckless act shattered that peace. Their loss calls for more than mourning. It calls for a collective moral reckoning. Tampa, Florida, and indeed all urban societies must internalize a lesson that safety is not automatic, that joy in public spaces must be defended through design, policy, and compassion, and that every life lost of preventable recklessness diminishes us all. If their deaths lead to even one city redesigning its nightlife district to prevent future tragedies, or one young driver thinking twice before pressing the accelerator in defiance, then their memory will not be in vain. Out of this tragedy must come resolve. A refusal to accept that public spaces of love, laughter, and community can be so easily destroyed by speed, impulse, or indifference. The path to justice is not only through the courts, but through the deliberate rebuilding of safer, wiser, and more humane cities.